Okay, you guys, I decided to go live. I know it's last minute, but hey, we're going to go ahead and jump into this video. Basically, y'all seen the title of what's basically this a documentary on plastic surgery, deadly plastic surgery in the industry or whatever. You know, our journey as far as preparing and having these BBLs and stuff like this or whatever. So basically, we're just going to go ahead and look at some of the documentaries, what's been going on in Miami, going all the way back to 2000 and I believe 15 or maybe prior to that. If you are new here, go ahead and press the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go ahead and jump in. If you're joining late, you're going to have to catch the replay game. But we're going to go ahead and get started. I will have to stop the video periodically so we can go ahead and discuss, because that's just YouTube rules. So let's go ahead and get started. I believe this video I watched pretty much 80% of it, and it is very good. I mean, it's kind of disturbing, but it's like, this is what we need to know. Like, this is very informative information of what's been going on in Miami. And this was actually sent to me a few days ago, and I finally took the time out to go ahead and watch it. And I wanted to bring it to my channel so you guys can go ahead and watch it as well. Hey, cousin. Hey, I am Donnie Love. Hey, Miss Garcia. All right, let's go ahead and get started.
Women wants to be, they want to be fuller at the top, smaller in the waist, and then they want to come out in the hips like a hourglass or a Coca-Cola bottle.
Is this what you would consider to be like an ideal body image?
Yeah. I wanted more of a slimmer waistline and a more of a bubble shaped butt.
If you go on social media, who do people like get more likes? Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B. We started looking at perfect bodies. We knew what, people like and how to get people's attention. And it was time to go in under the knife.
As social media fuels demand for a curvier figure, hundreds of thousands of people around the world have turned to a controversial surgery to help them achieve it.
BOGO deals are here. Through June 13th, buy one, get one free on select healthy must-haves at your neighborhood Sprouts.
Brazilian butt lift is when a doctor uses liposuction to collect fat from different parts of the body. They then transfer the fat to the hips and buttocks.
Developed in Brazil, the surgery has become one of the most popular cosmetic procedures in the world, but it's also one of the deadliest.
And so where did they take the fat from you?
From my stomach, my sides, my back, and to my butt.
Fault lines traveled to Miami, the plastic surgery capital of the U.S., to investigate what's behind a rise in injuries and deaths related to Brazilian butt lifts. Our reporting uncovered a pattern of high-volume surgical centers that appear to be putting profits ahead of patient safety.
The more they lower the prices, the more people are going to come and bite on it.
Dania Placencia died after having a Brazilian butt lift procedure.
She was perfectly healthy, 28-year-old girl. Perfectly healthy.
Family members say Dr. Sergio Alvarez performed the procedure.
Okay, so I'm glad this video was sent to me. So y'all see that the guy that just spoke, that was her grandfather, I believe, and he's a doctor as well. He did not know that his granddaughter was getting ready to go under surgery in Miami. She was keeping it a secret because she knew that he was going to try to talk her out of it or whatever. But anyways, long story short, this is the doctor that performed her surgery in Miami, Dr. Sergio Alvarez. He performed her surgery. I want to say this did get to the news, and he performed her surgery in Miami, I believe, and she was a perfectly healthy lady. Okay, because it's been a lot of controversy about, of course, Miss Miss Jackie O, she was sickly, or she had surgery too early, she had just had a baby, or Miss Jackie O had heart problems. At the end of the day, it can be a healthy person, and all it takes is for the doctor to do one wrong move, and she's gone. And in this situation, the patient was very healthy. She was 28 years old. She was very healthy, and y'all will see. I'm not going to tell y'all the story, but y'all will see.
According to the medical report following Dania's death, Dr. Alvarez was performing 60 to 80 surgeries per month.
Did y'all hear that? This doctor was performing 60 to 80 surgeries a day. A day. Well, no, a month. Did they say a month or a day? Girl, let me rewind that. No, they said a month. This man was performing 60 to 80 surgeries a month. That mean if he's charging anywhere from 4 to 6K per BBL, that mean this man is making over $500,000 a month. A month off of girls. He's making over $500,000 a month off of girls' surgeries. So, yeah.
It is an assembly line making money by the tons. Has to be stopped by the law.
In 2019, 28-year-old Dania Placencia decided to get a Brazilian butt lift, or BBL, a procedure that was growing in popularity, especially in Miami, where she lived.
Well, why do you think she wanted to get the BBL?
Sometimes we miss looking a certain way before we had kids.
After the third pregnancy, she got a little overweight. That's why she got the counseling from her friends to get the operation.
So she says here, 10 years ago versus now. So she's comparing these two photos side by side, 3 babies later. Hashtag fat girl, probs, LOL. Hashtag 10-year challenge. Hashtag in the works.
Her brother says Dania also hoped the surgery would help her at work.
So when she was a waitress serving, she would always tell me, like, Papa, all these girls have mini skirts and they're young. I want to compete with them for tips. I'm getting my surgeries.
For tips.
Just for tips.
As a doctor, her grandfather Marcio knew the risks of surgery and was opposed to Dania having the procedure, so she kept it from him.
You would have stopped her?
Oh, immediately. No question about it.
On the morning of May 10th, 2019, Dania arrived for her BBL at Mia Aesthetics. She sent her family this photo before her surgery. It was the last image of her alive.
The next thing I knew is that they called saying that she had respiratory arrest. So we went to the hospital where she was taken from the clinic, and she was dead already.
This video was taken that day.
And that's when we noticed that she wasn't breathing well. And
so what do y'all think? Do y'all think this physician malpractice because she was already dead during the procedure? Y'all see this was in May 2019 at Mia Anesthetic. I'm going to look him up to see how many deaths that do he have or whatever, and if he still practiced there. Because why was you even still operating on her? She was already gone. And then they tried to immediately send her to the hospital, but she was already deceased. And that's what he just said. But what was the cause of death?
it was that moment that we called 911. I mean, we didn't wait a second.
By 11:55 a.m., Dania was pronounced dead. Dania died of a pulmonary fat embolism, which happens when fat is accidentally injected into the veins, stopping the heart.
One thing is losing your parents, your old parents.
So y'all hear that? Basically, that's when they insert the fat into your body, but it goes into one of your veins and it causes a blockage and it blocks the blood flow from your brain. And that's the reason why Dr. Shanklin had brought over to Vixen that machine. While using that machine, while doing those combinations and those BBLs, he's able to see when he's transferring the fat that he's transferring it in the correct area. And I'm not sure if Vixen is still using it or not, but I do know for sure that Dr. Shanklin still practices and uses it over there at Smart.
Kids and drunk kids. That's a very different animal.
And I would never forget going to her funeral. I remember her daughter was still wearing a white dress, screaming to the top of her lungs for her mom.
Did you wish that you had talked to her about BBLs, or did it even change your thoughts about your own surgery?
If I would have said that, I would have been a hypocrite because I was going in the next week. She died a week before my surgery, my second surgery. And you know how it is. You pay for all that money. There's no refund.
No refund.
There's no refund.
And how many friends do you have that have had BBLs?
All of them.
All of your friends?
All my friends have had BBLs.
As BBLs continue to grow in popularity each year, we wanted to understand what happened to Dania and how these surgeries can go wrong.
These are just kind of general surgical instruments. Here you got your scissors to cut the sutures. This is your pickup.
So we went to meet with a plastic surgeon who not only performs them, but teaches other doctors how to do them safely.
So this is the count. This is what we use for liposuction, and that's the fat that you have for transfer. So what makes it risky? So it really has to do with the anatomy and in the buttock region. There are large vessels there just beneath the gluteal muscle. And if fat gets into these vessels, it clogs up the lungs. It's what we call a fat embolism.
And that would cause instant death.
Pretty much.
Can cause instant death.
Yeah.
Since 2015, 21 women, including Dania, have died in Florida after having Brazilian butt lifts. Alarmed by these deaths, a number of plastic surgery groups formed a task force to look into why they were happening.
This is the autopsy report for Dania Placencia.
Yes. I witnessed her autopsy.
And was that something that could have been avoided?
Yes.
She did not need to die from having fat injected. I mean, like, that was not the proper way to do the procedure. Is that correct?
That's correct. No one needs to die from this procedure. If doctors can just avoid putting fat into the muscle, if there's no fat into the muscle, the patients will not die.
And so
y'all heard that, right? This man is a licensed board certified plastic instructor. He teaches other plastic surgeons the proper way of performing surgeries and stuff like that. So y'all heard what he said. It's no reason that a person should die from transferring fat when getting a BBL. It's one of the highest risk surgeries. Like I mentioned to y'all, the BBLs and the combos is one of the high risk surgeries, but no one should die from having a fat transfer or a BBL if it's done properly. Now, complications after the surgery, if the person have health factors and stuff like that, like sickle cell or, you know, other factors, but while doing surgery and you've been cleared and you're healthy, is no reason that you should die from having a BBL fat transfer. So autopsies, they'll tell it all.
you wrote in your report that this was negligence. Was this negligence?
You know, this was below the standard of care at that time.
It's not clear how many people around the world have died while getting BBLs because those numbers aren't tracked. But one 2017 study suggested it could be as high as 1 in 3,000, which would make it the most dangerous cosmetic procedure in the world.
We did not see this happening until the mid-2010s. And so in 2015, the alarm bell went off where certain researchers in Mexico and in Colombia noted that they had patients that had died from this procedure, and for the same cause, for a little fat embolism into the lungs. Then we realized that here in the United States, we have had deaths after this procedure for the same reason. And the place where the deaths have happened the most is unfortunately Miami.
The reason Miami tops the list of BBL deaths has a lot to do with how important plastic surgery centers are to the city and the way they're allowed to operate here.
What has made Florida such a popular place for cosmetic surgery and for BBLs?
I think it's a combination of things, and I think one of them for sure is the regulatory environment. Here you can be a businessman, own a clinic, and employ surgeons or physicians to do the work. And they don't get as much regulation as, say, a hospital or an ambulatory surgical center.
As the cosmetic surgery industry grew in Miami and demand for procedures increased across socioeconomic groups, a new type of clinic sprung up to offer these surgeries at discounted prices.
I would call them high volume centers, where the procedure is significantly less or cheaper than it would be pretty much anywhere else in the US. I think they're making it up in volume, and they're doing many BBLs per surgeon per day.
What impact does that have on the actual surgery itself or on the doctors?
So there is such a thing, and we call it surgeon fatigue.
A high volume, low price clinic, the surgeon can perform anywhere from 6, 7, or even up to 10 surgeries a day.
What?
I've been doing this procedure now for more than 10 years. It takes me about 2 to 2.5 hours to do one. After 3, I'm exhausted.
Yep.
American Society
Y'all heard that man? That man said it takes, and that's right, because my BBL took like 2.5 hours. That man is absolutely right. Did you not hear what he said? He said he said he's been doing this, first of all, he said he's been doing this for over 10 years because he's an instructor too. He said he's been doing these surgeries for over 10 years. And he said he does anywhere between 2 to 3 BBLs a day. He said after doing 2 or 3, he's exhausted. So imagine some of these doctors, I'm not going to say the locations because we all know, but imagine some of these locations, these popular locations where I've even had surgery at, they are doing 10 to 12 girls a day. And if you don't believe me, a lot of y'all have been there like at pre-op, and a lot of them, you'll be like, who out here for Dr. Cannon? It'll be like 8 girls. And then you'll be like, who out here for Triggs? It'll be another 10 girls. Or who out here for Shanklin? Like, I just don't see how they're doing over 5, 6, 7, 8 girls a day. This man just said he's exhausted after doing 2 to 3 BBLs. And reason being, I believe because he's taking his time. He's not rushing on his patients. And he's being very, very cautious. Very cautious.
Surgeons, a BBL can cost about $14,000. At a high volume, low price clinic, a BBL could go from $2,500 to $4,000.
Wow.
But the savings come with other costs.
And what they're cutting out of that, the patient-surgeon consultation, what you're also cutting out is that you don't know exactly the qualifications of your surgeon and the environment that they're working in. And all of those factors are there to create what is essentially an assembly line of surgery to get patients in and out quickly.
We identified all the deaths from pulmonary fat emboli after Brazilian butt lifts, and we mapped out where they occurred in the city of Miami. It's really one small little part of town right here, centered on this street. The numbers show us that 92% of these deaths happened at the high volume clinics.
One of the high volume clinics in that area is Mia Aesthetics, where Dania went.
So y'all see that, right? Mia Anesthetic is at the top chart of having deaths in Miami. Mia Anesthetic.
Its website advertises BBLs for less than $5,000, and they even offer financing. The family received a settlement for Dania's death. Dania's surgeon, Dr. Sergio Alvarez, the founder and CEO of Mia Aesthetics, did not respond to multiple requests for an interview or to a list of questions we sent him. However, Fault Lines obtained footage from a lawsuit involving Mia Aesthetics that sheds light on their business model and the risk it creates.
How many surgeries are scheduled per surgeon?
Scheduled? It can be anywhere between 6 to 8.
Scheduled.
Sometimes more, sometimes less.
In this deposition clip, Dr. Alvarez is talking about how many patients it will schedule in a day, and he said it could be anywhere from 6 to 8 patients in a day, sometimes more.
In a sworn deposition, a former surgeon at MIA claimed that pressure from Dr. Alvarez to do more surgeries contributed to her decision to leave the practice.
I was asked by Sergio to increase the number of cases that I was performing every day by an additional 2 cases. I reluctantly agreed to increase to 7, but even with 7, I could be working well over 16-hour days.
Oh my God.
So that's something that wasn't.
And not only that, y'all see that man Sergio, he's the founder and CEO of Mia Anesthetic. So not only do he work there, but he's getting his money too. So the more cases that he's making his doctors do there, that's more money in his pocket as well as he's doing numerous of women. And you see, he said he can do, well, he be getting anywhere between 6 to 8 cases a day, sometimes more. Like, oh my God.
Really sustainable for me.
We took a deeper look into Mia's legal history and found a pattern of staff working long hours.
One surgical assistant that sued the company that's saying that she barely even had time to eat or sleep. She was doing up to 13 hours a day, 5 days a week, doing 7 or more plastic surgery cases a day. In some cases, she worked as many as 20 hours in a day.
And since Dania's death, other patients alleged they've been seriously injured while undergoing procedures at MIA.
The hottest reality series is rolling to a new network. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is now on MTV, starting tomorrow at 8.
Yeah. Despite the potential complications, the popularity of the surgery continues to grow.
This is where they stuck a stick about this long into the butt, into there.
When was the last time you had a surgery?
3 weeks ago.
You just had this 3 weeks ago, the
See, I had this
revision?
one.
Why do you feel like you need to keep going back to get these surgeries?
Between you and I, it's an addiction.
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction. It's like when you start gambling, you're just not going to stop. So I'm gambling with my body to get the perfect body.
These surgical centers are not equipped to deal with emergency medical complications. So patients who are injured at Miami's high-volume clinics are increasingly seeking care at the city's hospitals.
What are you seeing the most of?
Probably BBLs or Brazilian butt lifts. This used to be a relatively uncommon cosmetic procedure. It's had an exponential uptick in the last few years, and we've been seeing complications from them be virtually non-existent prior to 2019 to now having multiple per day at Jackson.
Some of these surgical centers have up to 18 operating rooms, which seems insane. I don't think that we have 18 operating rooms collectively as a health system. And these surgical centers are just weeds growing in all parts of Miami. If you want to understand truly what is happening right now with BBLs and cosmetic surgery in Miami, go back to the pill mill and opioid addictions in Miami and how those centers just start popping up everywhere without regulation, without oversight, and without a credentialed physician or board certified physician, and what that led us to.
Many cosmetic surgery patients in Miami come from out of state, lured by the clinic's cheap prices.
And not only that, they say this man Sergio, they say he's board certified. That's why I used that example yesterday. This man is board certified. He's the CEO and founder of Mia Anesthetic in Miami. And he have several deaths. And the last woman that he had a death on, she was practically healthy and she was only 28 years old. That's why I say we all take a risk, whether it's a board certified doctor or whether it's not a board certified doctor.
Powell, who lives in Mississippi, was one of them.
You can see those scars right there.
In 2018, she decided to get a BBL ahead of her wedding day.
And I had for a long time been dieting and doing different things to try to lose stubborn fat, and I just couldn't on my own. So, you know, social media made it seem like it was easy, it was convenience, and it would give me, you know, those instant results that I needed.
Sheila went online and found out about a clinic in Miami called Seduction Cosmetic Center.
Oh, Lord.
And booked an appointment there with Dr. John Sampson.
Oh, look, Valentine's special Brazilian butt lift for $112
a month.
Before and after. And that's him, right?
That's Dr. Sampson.
Sheila drove 13 hours for her surgery, bringing along her twin daughters who were 16 at the time.
Were you worried about it for her at the time? Did you think there were any risks?
We're going on a trip to Miami, that's all we thinking. See the palm trees and beaches, you know.
On the morning of February 23rd, 2018, Sheila and her daughters arrived at Seduction for her appointment.
When I got there, they took me to the bag and started prepping me for surgery, taking my blood pressure. They put me in a room, and Dr. Sampson came in there and talked to me.
And that's the first time you had met him?
Mm-hmm. First time.
And what was your impression of him when you first met him?
Kind of seemed really rushy and kind of seemed just, you know, straight to the point.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember asking him about lipo in my arms. He said, we'll do whatever, you know, you want to pay for. That's what he told me.
Oh, wow.
I remember, like, going in, like, the surgery room and the anesthesia doctor coming in, and he was like, I'm going to be the one putting you to sleep. I remember it was just me and him in the room, and I was like, where's everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing I knew, I was asleep.
And see, that's the thing. They try to, and I'm going to do another video on that as well, because it was sent to me. I'm not going to say the doctor's name because it's a lot of controversy going on right now. But it was recently sent to me from like 2 or 3 cousins that recently just had surgery within the last 7 days, that they were marked up. One surgery was at 11, one was at 12, and one was at 12:45. It's no way possible that a doctor can be doing 3 people surgeries at one time. Out of those 3 women, only one woman said that the doctor actually came in the OR room. She remembered the doctor being in there with her before she went to sleep. Y'all are supposed to see the doctor before the anesthesiologist tells you to get ready to take a deep breath. If you do not see your doctor, if you don't see Dr. Shanklin in there, if you don't see Dr. Cannon, Dr. Triggs, any doctor that you are getting ready to have surgery with, if you're not seeing that doctor in that OR room before you go to sleep, I'm just going to be honest with you. 9 times out of 10 is no telling that it's nothing but the assistants in there working on you. I just want to be honest because it was brought to my attention that one of the cousins told me that she highly doubt that the doctor even touched her. She highly doubt that the doctor even touched her, and she's waiting on feedback. She's waiting on feedback at this moment to actually do a one-on-one consultation with him, basically saying that it doesn't look like his work. It does not look like his work, and she's waiting to speak to the doctor. And the doctor who I'm talking about, we all are familiar with this person, but it's under investigation right now. And I don't want to say anything, but only thing I can tell y'all is before y'all close y'all eyes in that OR and they put that mask on you and the anesthesiologist is telling you that you supposed to get ready to go to sleep in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you need to make sure that your doctor is walking in there. You need to make sure that he's already on the side of your bed with his gloves on and ready to perform. When I had my surgery with Dr. Simmons was right there with his mask on, his cape on. When I had my surgery with Dr. Cannon, he walked in before the anesthesiologist was even on the side of me. He walked in there. I already had my needle in my arm because he came and did that after he marked me up. But as far as putting the mask on me and turning the machine on, Dr. Cannon was already right there. Same with Dr. Triggs. Dr. Triggs already had his gloves on. Dr. Triggs already had his mask on. He already had the two assistants right there. They was on the other side of me. And my nurse, she was right there too, holding my hand as well as Dr. Triggs was right there. I remember 5 people being in there, the anesthesiologist, my nurse, the 2 assistants, and Dr. Triggs. So do not go in there and let them having you feel like you are just a number. We are not just a number. We're paying our money. We're already going in here. We're saying a prayer. We're being wishful and having faith. And, we have families to get back home to. So we want to make sure that we going in there to get the results that we were guaranteed when we was getting marked up or whenever we had consultations, even if you was told that you would possibly need another round, but at least you already know what it is to be expected. So I say this to say, do your research. Also, like I mentioned earlier, just because a doctor is board certified does not mean he will not have a death. This doctor have several deaths. This doctor has several deaths, and I believe he's still operating on people. And people are still booking this doctor because his prices are cheap. And you get what you pay for as well. You get what you pay for. It's no way possible that you will get a BBL for $2,700. If they out here giving away BBLs for $27, what do that tell you? What does that tell you? I've heard a lot of things about Mia anesthetics. I heard a lot of things about seduction. I heard a lot of things about doctors in the DR. Do your research. Make sure when you're in there getting drawn up by your doctor that you clarify exactly what it is that you're wanting. Don't just be in there just letting him mark you up, this and that, because that's what they're going to do if you're not speaking up. I don't care if it's your first time. Go in there acting like you know what you're talking about. Give them eye contact because these people are operating on you and they are not God. These doctors are not God, okay?
Sheila's chest cavity was punctured during the liposuction portion of her procedure, collapsing her lung. She was rushed to the emergency room of a nearby hospital.
What was going through your mind when you saw your mom being taken out on a stretcher?
It made me emotional because when I asked, nobody knew to tell me anything.
It was scary, huh?
I feel just so hurt. It's like just a blink of the eye, I could have lost my mom. And I could have been in Miami by myself, not knowing how to find her or anything.
Oh, gosh. You still have a scar. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. So this is the scar that's remaining. This is from the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila spent the next week in the hospital with her teenage daughter sleeping beside her.
I look at seduction as a chop shop because they definitely don't care about their customers, their clients. It's just all about the money. They want to make the fast money, and they just do it really, really quick and get you out.
Sheila sued seduction and her doctor, John Sampson. The case is still being litigated in court. In 2021, a 33-year-old woman died while Dr. Sampson was performing a Brazilian butt lift.
And let me tell you something about this man, Dr. Sampson. When I first heard about him, I was already like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Because first of all, your prices, they are unbelievable. Your center is filthy to me. Like I've heard so many scare stories about over there at Seduction. Like I don't even mention them on my channel. I don't even recommend nobody to go over there. Just like I don't recommend nobody to go over there to Goals that sit over there on that little corner in that strip center over there by 305. I don't recommend nobody for me anesthetics either. Like it's just not. It's not giving like healthcare. Like great service, bedside. Like, it just makes us feel like we're just a number. And like they said, like a chop shop. And you see Dr. Sampson, he's still being booked. This man is still, why this man is not shut down? That's what I don't understand. They constantly having deaths and it's the same type of surgeries. Why aren't they shut down? Like, I'm not understanding that. And this man just had another death in 2021. And this man still, his certification still haven't been taken from him. And he still is performing surgeries. That's why I say we have to do our research. We have, and a lot, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, a lot of these doctors that have death, it's not updated yearly. You have to really do your research. That's why I say some of the groups are good for, like, if you want to ask about deaths and stuff like that on a particular doctor, whether they're board certified or not. They are real good, and they will hurry up and tell you, yes, girl, he had one not too long ago, or no, I haven't heard anything about him. But still, at least they give you a little insight. But still, do your research. And like I said, some people don't care if doctors have death. They like their work, and they're just going to take that chance.
Investigation by the Florida Board of Medicine, the administrative body which governs the practice of doctors in the state, revealed it was his 7th patient of the day.
There's evidence that fatigue plays a role, and I think that's something that he should have thought about to start an elective surgery. That's the most dangerous cosmetic surgery in the United States at 8:30 at night after having operated all day.
He was ordered to pay a fine and was permanently banned from performing BBLs in Florida. As for Dania's case, her surgeon, Dr. Alvarez, was fined and banned from performing the procedure for 1 year.
1 year.
Meanwhile, in response to the rising deaths, the Florida Board of Medicine took action by creating an emergency rule.
This basically limited the number of BBLs that a surgeon could.
So this is why I wanted to show y'all this video. This is why it started the mandate. This is why the mandate started when COVID started in 2021. Now it's making sense. This is why the mandate started, because it started being too many deaths. It started being too many operations going in one day. But we see how long that mandate lasted. It didn't last long.
3 a day max, and also required them to use an ultrasound during the procedure.
They should have been using it.
It's only good for 90 days, by the way, so it's expired.
Yep.
But Dr. Alvarez and other—
Y'all see? He said it's expired. It only lasted 90 days. And you remember that they was trying to do the VIP thing where you could pay an extra $3,000 or $4,000 to be skipped up, or if you have great BMI, you're not that overweight or whatever, they'll go ahead and boost you up or whatever so you won't lose your spot. Oh yeah, now it's making sense. It's adding up. It's adding up. That's why the mandate has started.
Surgeons formed a lobbying group called Surgeons for Safety to protest the order, and they sued the Florida Board of Medicine.
They said we shouldn't limit doctors on how many of these they can do, and we shouldn't have required them to use ultrasounds. And part of their argument was that if we keep these rules, you're going to drive patients to the doctors who don't follow the rules. They are also they've become pretty generous donors to the Republican Party of Florida and the Republican candidates. So during the time, within like 6 months, I want to say in the first 4 or 5 months, they donated about $350,000.
Members of Surgeons for Safety did not respond to our request for interviews. With the emergency order now expired, the Florida Board of Medicine is trying to pass new safety regulations. Meanwhile, state lawmakers passed a Republican-sponsored bill that requires more oversight on how BBLs are performed, though it doesn't include a cap on the number of surgeries a doctor can do per day. But what happens at these high-volume clinics goes way beyond Florida.
This happened here in Miami. It began here in Miami, but unfortunately it's not restricted to Miami. And that's for 2 reasons. That number one, patients from all over the United States are coming here, and they have had these complications and deaths. So it's affected the entire country. What we have also found is that many of the clinics that have started here in Miami are now franchising. And I think every community needs to understand that when a clinic opens up, the business model is incredibly important.
How did Dania's death affect Dr. Alvarez's business?
I don't think it affected his business.
Nope.
As a matter of fact, he expanded his business.
Color State
Yep.
Wear Makeup.
For every life. Wow, look at all these. Austin, Atlanta, Baltimore, Chicago.
Yep, that man
Dallas,
everywhere.
Houston, Las Vegas, Miami, New York City, Tampa Bay.
So many that Dr. Alvarez apparently cannot keep track of how many patients have to be transported to the hospital with complications.
We are 13 centers with thousands and thousands of cases, so I can't remember every time a patient.
And I'm not asking you every time, I'm just asking you in the history. Has it been more than 2 or 3 times that?
I don't know.
In 2021, the Texas Medical Board investigated Dr. Alvarez when 3 of his patients developed complications after their surgeries that required them to receive emergency care. They found that he failed to timely respond to those patients and did not maintain adequate medical records. According to a receptionist at Mia Aesthetics, Dr. Alvarez is no longer performing surgeries.
They become so desensitized that they see it as a piece of meat.
Yep.
Instead of a human being.
I thought I was in good hands. I thought I was with one of the best cosmetic doctors. I thought that I was going to come out of there looking like an hourglass. I don't think he valued human life. I think it's all about money.
Yep.
All about money.
Dr. Sampson did not respond to a list of questions we sent him. According to receptionists at Seduction and Dr. Sampson's private practice in Michigan, he's no longer performing BBLs.
Go get KJ. Go get KJ. Check KJ. Come here.
I live every day like it's my last day because I know that I could not have been here. But I feel like God just allowed me another chance to be here with my family.
Her kids are very, very destroyed. They're very hurt. It's a love you can't replace. It's tore their family apart.
She was a gorgeous girl. She was a child so happy. She loved life. 28 short years. Like a star, coming and going. The young girl died for no reason. Those doctors are a disgrace to medicine.
So yeah, there you have it. So I really enjoyed this video because this gave me a lot of insight on, you know, some of these doctors is like they feel like they're just about the money. And I feel like board certified or not, Dr. Alvarez, they said as of right now, he's not performing surgeries. But I mean, he's still making money because he's a founder of Mia Anesthetics. So he's still, this man is still a billionaire. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, I just feel like it was careless malpractice. Like they even said, he wasn't even really looking at their medical history or medical reports. I hope that's not the same with Dr. Z when it came to Miss O situation. But like I said, we all have to do our research, whether the doctor is board certified or whether the doctor is not board certified. We all are taking a risk in their hands because, like I say, they are not God. And when it's our turn, it's our turn. I hope y'all enjoyed the live video. Continue to stay encouraged. I have some more content coming for you all. And enjoy the rest of your Monday. Peace.